Hello everyone. In this video I will try to show you one of the most basic but elemental FMC techniques, which is called insertions. Insertions is a technique which is used to solve a skeleton. A skeleton is just a cube that is almost solved. For example, I have this cube and I have everything solved but a few pieces. In this case I have a 3-corner cycle, and this could be a skeleton. For example, if I had something more complex, I could say most of the cube is already solved, but a few pieces are apart from having the cube solved. So, in order to solve a skeleton, you must use a technique called insertions. What's an insertion? An insertion is a technique which is often used for skeletons, which tries to solve these pieces in a clever way. The clever way is usually to do commutators. Since we are in FMC and we only care about few moves, we'll use the shorter commutators, which are the pure commutators. A pure commutator is an 8-move cycle which solves 3 pieces, specifically 3 corners for the sake of example, no? So, a commutator, a pure one, should look like something like this. As you can see, I did 8 moves and everything is exactly as it was, but these 3 pieces were cycled. So, in order to use insertions to do a skeleton, we must first know how to do a commutator, no? So, a pure commutator consists of 2 main parts, which I will call A and B. A and B are sequences of moves. So, a commutator is in a sequence of doing a sequence of moves, another one, then doing the first one backwards and the second one backwards. So, how do I know which moves to do? This is where the thinking part starts. So, a pure commutator, which is what we only care about, consists of 2 main parts. The first one is one I like to call a swap, and the second one is an insert. So, if you are used to solve the Rubik's Cube, which I think you are because you are watching this video, you'll know how to do a single insertions for a corner, no? Something like this. A 3-move insert. This goes here and goes to here, no? So, a pure commutator has 2 parts, a swap and an insert. To know how to use a commutator, we must choose a spot we could call a buffer. If you are experiencing blindfold, this will be easy for you. If you don't know anything about blindfold, you'll know anyway how to do this, no? So, we'll focus on this corner here, in the bottom right spot. So, first, if I do a single move to to move this corner to here, I'll do a swap. A swap is a single move which you use to get a corner to the place where you are going to do the interchange. I say the buffer, no? So, I have this corner here and I can swap it. So, this move will be D. So, I'm trying to use this as a buffer, no? So, if I try to insert this corner here, I could do something like this, like R, U, R prime. So, following the logic from a commutator, the A, the first sequence of moves, will be D, and B will be R, U, R prime, which I use to insert the corner. So, the next thing is to do the first sequence backwards. As I use D, I'm going to use D prime. Now, the second sequence of moves, I'm going to do it backwards. I did R, U, R prime, so I'm going to do R, U prime, R prime. So I did a pure commutator. As some of you might have noticed, you don't always need to do the swap first, then the insert. You can do the insert first, then the swap. For example, if I do the insert first, then the swap, then the inverse of the insert, then the inverse of the swap, I did a pure commutator anyway. So, in order to use this pure commutator technique to solve skeletons using insertions, we must use insertion stickers. So, if you have stickers like the usual ones, you can use them, put in your pieces, and write with a pencil or something, no? I'm really used to use tape. This blue tape is really useful as it doesn't damage stickers and I can use it even in non-stickered cubes. So, what's the tape for? Let's say I have my skeleton finished. Everything is solved except a few pieces, these 3. So, first, I must use the tape to label the pieces. I start in any of the unsolved pieces and then put the number 1. It doesn't matter which piece you use first, it's really not important. Which is important is to know where this piece needs to be. For example, this orange, white, green piece needs to go here, and the stickers will I put in the orange face must face the orange side. I mean, it has to match with the center, no? So basically I need to do this. This goes here. So I put the second sticker in the piece where it needs to be solved, and it also has to be in the color matching where I put the sticker with the center. So this will be number 2. And finally, I have to put the third sticker, which is where this piece needs to be. This piece, which is blue, orange, yellow, needs to go here. And since this is blue, it needs to go here to match the blue center. So, this is 3. And if you did it correctly, the third one must go to where number 1 is. This yellow, green, orange piece needs to go here, and this orange needs to be here, where is the sticker. So this is cool. To do the pure commutator, you must know that not all the cases can be solved in 8 moves. With some practice you will have to know which cases can be solved with a pure commutator and which cannot, but since we are in FMC, we'll only care about cases where we can use a pure commutator. So, how to know which moves to do? In this case, with the help of stickers, I have to view the cycles. I have to put 2 pieces in the bottom layer and 1 in the upper layer. So, the general rule is that 1 needs to go to 2, 2 needs to go to 3, and 3 goes to 1. So, I need to find an orientation where I can have 2 pieces that can be swapped without disrupting the third piece. Remember that a swap is just a 1 move to get 1 piece from where it is to where it needs to be. So, if I had a 3, I say that 3 goes to 1. I repeat, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 1. So, if I use D as a swap, I have 3 going to 1, then I can do the insert to put 2 in its place. Remember that we are focusing in one spot in particular. So, I do D, then R, U, R prime. Notice how the sticker with the 2 view the same face as the previous sticker. The sticker needs to be seen where it was the other piece. If this was in front, this has to be in front too. For example, if this sticker ended up here or here, it will be wrong. So, I finish my commutator and the cube is solved. And you'll be saying, well, what if I don't have a pure commutator case by the end of my skeleton? Well, this is where insertions is really useful. A commutator is a sequence that only affects a few pieces. Everything in the cube will remain the same except for these pieces. So it doesn't matter if you solve these three particular pieces at the end or the beginning or an intermediate point of your skeleton. So the point of insertions is to find where you can use a pure commutator and use its moves to cancel some with the skeleton. I prepared the example, so this will be easy to see. Let's say I have this scramble, no? And I did a solution to find the skeleton which solves everything with three pieces, three corners specifically, no? So I'm going to execute my moves to get to the skeleton state. So now I did the scramble, then the skeleton, and I have the situation, everything is solved but three corners. So I'm going to label these three pieces. I label them with the stickers so I can know where they are in any point of my skeleton. I repeat, since the commutator only affects these three pieces, I can solve it at any point of the skeleton, and at the end the cube will be solved. So I take the sticker with the number 1 and put it, let's say, here. Remember, it doesn't matter where you put the first sticker. Then I go for the second one. Since this is yellow, blue, red, this has to go here. This matches the yellow center, so it's here. And the third one is this white, orange, green. I put my sticker in green, so I must put the sticker in the green center. And to check if it is correct, this piece goes to here, to 1, so it's okay. For example, to solve this case, I could do a swap to get from 3 to 1, then an insert to put these two in here, where I'm making the interchange. So I do D, R prime, U, L, D prime, L prime, U prime, L, and the cube is solved. So I could find this solution, just write those moves and put them in your skeleton. Now, before continuing with this video, it's really important to know that you can't use insertions if you have any rotation in your solution. So you have to know how to write your solutions without any rotations, which you can use simply by putting a face to a center. Let's say red, I could say R for R moves. No matter which orientation I'm in, R will always be the red face. So, assuming that you already know how to write without rotations, you can do your insertions. These three pieces are the ones that are going to be affected by the commutator we are seeking for. So we do the scramble, which is this. I have the scramble and I'm at this point of my solution, right at the beginning. So I could get 3 to 1 doing L2, then insert these two, which will face down here, so it will be correct. I could do, let's say, L2, U, R, U prime. The inverse of L2 is L2, so it's the same. R, U prime, U prime. So if I perform that commutator, I do L2, then the rest, no? So I solved these pieces, and now if I continue with my skeleton, the cube will be solved at the end. As you can see, the cube is solved. So, if I can use a commutator at any point of my solution, I can be clever and use those moves to cancel some with the skeleton, which I mark here is the place where I can find the commutator that cancels the most moves. So let's do it. So this is the same cube. I did all these moves, blah 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 blah, then go to here, and as you can see, first we have a B2 and a D. If I get 1 to 2 with a swap, I can do B2, then I interchange the piece because now this is the spot we are going to do the interchange. So if I do D, F2, D prime, I got the third piece of the cycle to the spot where we are doing the interchange now. So the inverse of the first swap, B2, and the inverse of the insert, which is D, F2, D prime. And now if we continue with our solves normally, the cube is solved. This commutator, I put it here, where is this mark. This mark is here the commutator that I wrote. This is the same commutator, no? This could also be written as the swap, then the insert, and you already know that then you are going to do the inverse of this and the inverse of this. But in WCA notation, you must use this. So if I have B2 and B2, it's like I did 2 and 2 and I did nothing. So I could not write the B2. This B2 cancels with this B2, and D prime and D cancel itself. I mean, D and D prime, nothing happened. I cannot write them. So the final solution will be my skeleton up to this point, then the commutator and the rest of the skeleton, and the cube will be solved. To do an insertion, you must see every point of your skeleton to see where you can insert a pure commutator and which cancels the most moves. This was a good example as it cancels 4 moves. The normal cancel moves for a 3 cycle is 1 or 2, maybe 3. Usually it's 2. So expect to get around 2 cancels, no? So you see each point, see if it cancels some moves, and then write your final solution already with the cancels. Notice that if there's a place where you can insert a pure commutator, just ignore it. We must use pure commutators, and no other kind of commutator exists for FMC, at least for entry level, no? So we go to the point and let's see, I have a pure commutator here, I try it and see if it cancels. The basic way to do this is to write every single one of your commutators and see if it cancels. As you gain experience, you can just write the ones that cancel, and if with many practice, you can use thinking like this in your head. The place of the left will cancel with the first move of your commutator, and the right side of your skeleton will cancel with the last move of your commutator. It doesn't matter if it's an insert or a swap and an insert, the rule goes the same. The left of the skeleton with the first move and the right with the last move. So to really know which cases can be solved with a pure commutator, the rules is kinda like I explained it before, but to make it short, you must have two pieces that can be swapped before affecting the piece that will be inserted, and you have to insert the third piece where the interchange was. I mean, if I get this to this, I must insert it here. So I can do the swap and then the insert, or I can do the insert then the swap. Some cases can be solved only if you use the swap first then the insert, and other ones can only be solved if you insert first then swap, and some cases can be solved both ways, so it's convenient to check both of them. Cases where you can't do a swap without disrupting the third piece, or you can insert the third piece with the orientation that it needs to be, because remember, the sticker needs to face where the sticker was. It can't be rotated because it won't solve the cube. And to finish this video off, I'm going to show you something that is really useful, because insertions can't only be applied to three corner cases. For example, I have here 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 pieces unsolved. To solve this, I must label the pieces 1, 2, 3, 4 to 5, and then I need to solve one 3-corner cycle first, then the second one. For example, if I have 5 corners, I could do the 1, 2, 3 cycle, which after the insertion will leave me with a 3 cycle. If I solve 2, 3, 4, I get to a 3-corner cycle, no? So the possible cycles are 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 1, and 5, 1, 2. For 4-corner cases, it's kinda the same. You only have to worry about solving one piece. But basically, you do one pure commutator which solves 3 pieces to reduce it to another case where only 3 corners needs to be solved. Both of them are done using commutators. So, insertions can be more complex because you can insert something like algorithms for edges, or inserting even last layer algorithms. But basically, insertion is going to each point of your skeleton, checking if you can do some moves to solve the case at this point, trying to cancel moves with the skeleton. So the basic and honestly most used case is to only do corners insertion. If you happen to get more advanced and need to do more advanced techniques, probably you could figure it yourselves by knowing basically how this corner insertion works. So this is everything for the video. Hope I help. I know my English is broken, but I think this is the first comprehensible FMC tutorial for insertions out there. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask in the comment sections. This solution, I took it from this guy, from the Fewest Moves group on Facebook, which you can join to clarify your doubts and get help and join the weekly competition. The group is just called Fewest Moves on Facebook, and also a really important resource is this internet page, fewestmove.es. This is also known as Insertion Finder. This basically do these steps of doing your insertions to see which is the best. If you are learning, I will highly suggest to put the scramble in Insertion Finder, which is this, and try to get it yourself by doing your stickers and your commutators. This is fairly easy, but it can be really complicated if you don't have any resource to get help. So I hope I help, and see you in the next video.